Hi Leo, I'm Susan, I'm your intuitive, and this is your April 2025 reading. I have been thinking about you guys for a while, and I'm very much looking forward getting into this reading. This will be your love and money reading for the month of April, Taurus season, but for the whole month, as these are coming out later than normal. But welcome. We're going to start with love. That is what is on the minds of most of us right now, from what I've gathered. So we're going to talk about love first. And something I do know, as I was trying to get one of my kitties to just come sit because she wants to be near me, but she's funny. You can't get a kitty to do something they don't want to do. Sometimes you have to give in and do what they want to do first in order to get them to do what you want to do, or to compromise. It's not, I'm not saying manipulation here. However, right, it can get to that extent depending on the Leo I'm speaking to. So love is, and honestly, this is a radical transformation of love. This is a radical transformation of yourself through love, Leo. At this time, I actually don't even have my notes out, but I'll get them out as I talk to you. At this time, Venus retrograde, it's going direct by the time this is out, or right before this is out, same day as the full moon in Libra. And this has been going through, for Leo risings, this has been going through your 8th house. And now, depending on your chart, this could be in a different house, but it will be in your 8th house at some point. So 8th house is resources, it's death, deep healing, it's sex, it's investments. And keeping it in the love range, love is an investment. Regardless of how you see it or not, you're investing your time in someone, and vice versa. And what this investment, now this is if you're partner, but if you're single, still listen, because there's a message here. This is about how you're transforming radically through love right now. And that is what's going to build more abundance. That's what's going to build upon your values even more. But it's really important that you continue to allow yourself to develop this very vulnerable intuition that you have been, and that you know deeply, or you're getting to know very deeply at this time. Because we also have the Aquarius card out here, and that is in your 7th house of partnerships. And Pluto's been coming out a little bit, so we're going to talk about Pluto as well, because Pluto's in Aquarius. Aquarius is in your 7th house for Leo risings, of commitment, partnership, one-on-one intimate connections, clients, if you see clients or have one-on-one business partnerships as well, relationships. I would also say that's in here, in this grouping. This Pluto transformation has started, and that's what's also a part of this radical transformation of yourself. You may feel different than you have in relationship, but it's because of this, whether it's your intention or not, there's an intention for growth here. And this is what's going to shift your view of maybe traditions in your life, perhaps, because traditionally Aquarius is Saturn ruled. However, it's also ruled by Uranus, and that is the planet of revolution. So, and then we have Saturn, which is tradition. It's step by step, working hard, all of that. But in Aquarius, it's more about the brain. The Knight of Swords is more of that radical shift. And if for those of you, if it's not necessarily in a relationship with love, it's in your relationship to love, your authentic relationship to love. So anywhere that you've been hiding, or anywhere you have been avoiding, or been too attached to, right? There's all of that. We have another fixed sign, so many fixed signs here to say that there's been this delayering happening at this time with these eclipses in Aries and Libra. And this is not an eclipse that's happening. However, it's the final. to what's been going on for so long, and we get a powerful reflection, we get a powerful moment to be vulnerable if we're willing. Libra is mirror. So this is that also, that if you've been in creation mode too, this also applies to whatever you're creating as well. If you're single, this is about how you notice the shift in how you show up dating, or how you show up with someone that you have potential with, or anyone that you're meeting at this time. Like, whether or not it goes long term, you're starting to show up in a way that is different. There is a little bit more vulnerability in a way that feels safe for you. And it adds so much value to your life, and will continue to add so much value to your life. Now, something also, this is also saying for some of you out there, whether you're single or with someone, you will perhaps have this very highly spiritual, intuitive, thought-provoking experience together. So just know that something, even the radical shift for those of you who are single, is someone coming into your life, and there's possibly marriage that gets brought up very quickly. And now that we know, that can be a total red flag. So that's why your intuition, and why being vulnerable and not always in protection, or learning what that love means to you and experimenting and expressing it at this time, will ultimately be the protection in the future. So don't be afraid if things move quickly. Of course, like, be cautious, have conversations, notice what's being talked about, what's not, tell people in your life as well. But if you're single and you meet someone, things could move potentially quickly, if that is what you both want too. Saying all the things so you know that there's still free will, of course, involved. All right, and it could be an Aquarius, could be a Taurus perhaps, but either way, love is this radical transformation for you this month at this time. Okay, and we talked about how there is a deep healing. There is a deep healing happening too. And then I also want to acknowledge how Aries is in your 9th house of thought, of education, travel, philosophy, astrology. So for Leo risings, very interesting. Ooh, interesting. So for money for you may be tied up in what's happening with love at this time, as it is. So let's see, let's get more. Okay, so you may feel at this time, for some of you may feel constrained. You feel like you've put a lot of energy in, and you may be bound by the physical right now. And for others of you, this is about being content, comfortable, wanting to grow, and maybe feeling stuck in money. Let's get a little bit more. But emotionally, you don't feel, there's no instability here. It's more just a perhaps stubborn or stuck feeling. If there's a Capricorn in your life, they may be fronting as if they're all right too. So maybe check in with the Capricorn, especially if they add value in your life and you guys have that rapport. That may even break something open. So I know that sometimes can sound random, but the truth is that things are hidden in our lives in all these different ways, and everything is connected. And that's what we're talking about here. So, don't be afraid to not pry or poke this person or the situation, but allow for the vulnerability, that experience, because there's something there that could potentially even allow you may even get some wisdom, basically, from this person. And they could be younger than you as well. You might be approached by someone to go into business together, and it's someone that you may want to feel them out first. You know, Venus will go direct by the time this is out, or around the same day this is out. And it's really important, like High Priestess at the bottom, be very careful of how they say things. Don't believe them at face value, especially if it's a big investment. And that is money or time. Because we talked about creation, we talked about love, how that's transforming your life right now, and you are in a vulnerable place. So just be wary of predatory behavior. As you know, a lion, we talk about Leo with a lion, that's predator and prey behavior, and that's something you can sense so well. But you know, we all have our moments where things are hidden. So at this time, I just want to express that, because you never know if your vulnerabilities are going to be taken advantage of or not. That just happens. However, vulnerability is also a time that breeds change. It's when we're rested enough, we're in receptivity enough, where you don't have to show up, right? I know you know how that feels. However, it may have felt for a while that you couldn't be that way, or there wasn't an allowance for this experience. And it seems like at this time, what's really important is that you recognize that there's something going on where we are really shifting at this time as a collective. And I know that it's not just me or people who are sensitive or expressing intuition and reading and readers who are experiencing the shift. This is people who are highly aware, just not in this realm, and they can feel it. I hope that makes sense. And it's very Capricorn, because most Capricorns would say and deny certain things unless they're fully open or meet the right person to share with them any of this. And that is a literal meme, but it's my experience with most Capricorns. However, they're the people that talk to me, which I feel grateful for. And if you know Capricorns, you have them in your life, you can understand that too, but also you as well, right? You're not as impressionable as people. If you've ever been called impressionable, or people have assumed that about you, it's not always your character. That's not something that it is a common thread in every area of your life. That's something you may express in areas of life, of course. And at this time, what's important about that is that you have a focus on your values. You notice that when you're in a more content place with money, you're able to work in a way that's more light and airy and free. And you've had to make do for a while, feeling more constrained, feeling like perhaps you had to be some kind of way at work or in the areas in which you've made money. And you're realizing that the more that you maybe sit down and put energy into whatever you are providing, that when you bring that air of enjoyment and energy in, it's so much more satisfying for you. And it actually, at times, it's been a way to avoid, and I know you understand that. But this is really what's actually transforming your life, because it's not that you're actively avoiding anything at this time. It's that you're moving through a time where you're not avoiding, you're allowing yourself to move through whatever the avoidance was masking for, wherever you've been stuck. And if we're talking monetarily, it's more that you've been distracted. It's a distraction. All of those words just to say it's a fucking distraction, Leo. And so money has been a distraction to what's happening with love and the experience of love. And love here, adding love into the areas in which you make money, even if it's not your dream place to be, will actually give way for whatever it is that you've been working on internally to then express itself creatively. If you want to bring value of art outside of yourself, or if you are an artist and you're actively doing that and you've been stuck in this funk for a while, something is going to move the needle, and that is your experience within you. What more can I say? Like, I'm so glad I waited to the perfect time to talk to you, because it's been heavy. And this very, and it might not be even an exact conversation about what's going on with you. It could be this conversation with someone else that whatever is said is the exact words. And I love this about the Page of Swords brings this kind of energy where it's swiftly said, where it's just, that's all you need. It's so simple way of making sense to you. And you're finally at a vulnerable place to hear it, to feel whatever you need to feel. And, you know, we'll get more into this in a second, but I've been loving using the bottom, oh my God, the bottom of the deck. But this is this intuitive, more fun, intuitive spot where it can lighten anything heavy that comes your way. Because the thing about leaning more into your intuition and following that as much as you already do, but then extending it and really bringing value into other areas of your life and feeling more, even more authentic in this radical transformation, is that it brings magic to even heavy experiences. It brings spirit, in that we would say it brings an ethereal spirituality as well. And that's something that if you haven't been comfortable with expressing, or if it's been more of you not being comfortable with experiencing it with others, now is the time. Now is the time. I'm so excited for you. I know it's been, the fire signs, it's been a long haul, and there will still be work and burnout. Be very careful of burnout. I'm going to be telling you that all year. I'm going to tell you that for a while. There's so much in Aries. And I think you'll start to appreciate being aware of that more. And even though it's not fun to experience at all, you'll be kind of enforced or forced or pushed or dragged to experience it at some point. So it's time to find that zone where that Leo, that queenness comes back around, and the open-hearted, protective, supportive, compassion, all of those are used for your benefit and expressed for your benefit. And does that always have to be the case? No, Leo, but that's what we're talking about right now. Venus's value. Okay. We will see you in the next part. I forgot to add this in. Oops. The next part is the extended version, the Patreon link. We'll get more into it. We have the stars, Aquarius, we have the calves, then we have the knees, which has been talked about a lot recently, actually both. And then the high priestess is the lungs. So, and I would also say the nervous system for her as well, because Mercury and Gemini. So yeah, let's get all into it even more in the next part. That's the Patreon link. If you subscribe, you get everything that I do right to your email, or anything you subscribe to, I should say, not anything that I do. And then links to book with me are below. Tuesdays and Thursdays, I work out of a wellness center, so you can book there. Then I have my website for the other days where you can also book depending on what your schedule is like. Payment options for me personally are also below. And I believe that is it. We'll see you in Taurus season or May next month, which we'll still have a bunch more to talk about as well. Okay, Leo? We'll see you next time. Thanks for being here.